What do you think is an ideal profile, or which kind of profile students can make it to SDA Bocconi and definitely have more chances when we talk about, our scholarships?
Now, I would think that anybody who has like out of six, four things on their profiles which are pretty much very strong would have like literally a lot of chances. Tuition waivers are really important for people, and we have not changed our fees for the last 10 years or so. It's always been around.
What is the difference in the scholarships and tuition waivers? And like everybody says, I got 80% on my fees. How can one get that? Like, what is the 80% on?
Scholarships are given in lump sum of 2 lakh rupees, and there are three categories of it. One is for the Dean's Award, wherein the student have to have.
Hi everyone, welcome on board. This is Anisha here. Today I have with me Ruchi from SDA Bocconi Asia Center. She's the COO of SDA Bocconi. So today I'm going to be very candid, understand what goes behind all the admission process, the selection, the scholarships, and let's get a little hack to understand how can each one of you guys be one of the students who get like up to an 80% scholarship. And you won't believe, every year cumulatively the scholarship is around 7 to 8 cr, Ruchi, if I'm correct. Lovely. So today, please make sure you guys watch the video right till the end. Let's understand all the scholarships and how can you guys get that as well, and what's happening new on campus also. So firstly, welcome on board, Ruchi. Thank you for coming on the channel today.
Thank you, Nisha. Thank you so much for a lovely introduction and giving the context to everybody as to what we are going to speak. I'm more than happy to actually share this news with everybody who is looking forward for a financial aid from Bocconi's perspective. We've always strived upon to work and probably put in efforts for all the meritorious students who should be with us in the cohort. The idea is to create a very strong and talented pool for Bocconi. Given that we are now going to be admitting for the 15th batch. Wow. So we are pretty old in the India context. Of course, the Bocconi's credentials are a legacy back in Europe, but we try to put that together for the India market as well, for the Asia market as well, right? We have introduced a couple of new scopes in terms of what scholarships and tuition waivers can be for this year. Okay. The relevant ones, of course, as you had mentioned, that we have scholarships and we have tuition waivers, yeah. And I'll explain that to you. But feel free to ask very specific questions if that is something that the audience would like to hear.
Definitely, the first thing I would want to ask is what is the difference in the scholarships and tuition waivers? And like everybody says, I got 80% on my fees. How can one get that? Like, what is the 80% on?
Right. Great question, first of all. For us, there is a divide between what is scholarships and what is tuition waiver, right? So, scholarships are, again, both the things are meritorious, okay. But the evaluations for both are very different. Okay. Scholarships are given in lump sum of 2 lakh rupees, and there are three categories of it. One is for the Dean's Award, wherein the student have to have very strong academics and test scores. So, his factuals or his numbers are the ones that will help him be the contender for Dean's Award. In that case, what happens is that if somebody gets a Dean's Award, it will be mentioned in their offer letter or the result that is there. But when they have to redeem that Dean's Award, they have to be amongst the top 5% of the class in the first year of their IMB program. And then it gets subsetted in the second year or so. Okay. Now that's the Dean's Award, and this is to help or keep them motivated across their first year because they had great academics. We wanted to make sure that this is motivating enough for them and to keep striving hard to keep their numbers up, and that's the reason that this Dean's Award is in place. Second scholarship that we have is for sports, arts, and cultural. Now, these are three categories that we have. We are also going to be adding two more categories under that, which would be social impact, and the another one would be early founders or early entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. Who have showcased some sort of business acumen, some sort of business that they have set up, etc. Of course, all of that will have a paperwork to follow, so that we understand. Now, when I say there are these 5 things under the same umbrella, right? Like if you are an early founder, or if you are an early startup guy, if you are into a leadership position, into volunteering, working with an NGO, then that counts. Then the third part would be arts, right? So if you are say a state level performer, or a singer, so and so forth, so that counts under the art or cultural part of it. Then somebody has been studying Carnatic music for over years now, and have performed at state and national level, etc. And we will go back and check as to what is the level, what are the performances, and then based on that we will award that. The last part is, as I said, arts, cultural, and sports. So sports also, if you have played state, national, and above, only then you are actually a contender for this. So we have 5 differentiations under this, and that would get you another 2 lakh rupees as your scholarship award. Then the third type here is that we have is the women in leadership. Now, this has been very conscious effort within Bocconi's ecosystem, that we have tried to encourage female candidates to pursue this masters, and we have consistently been amongst the top business schools in India who've matched above 50% each year in terms of their gender ratio or the gender representation in class. For the last 4-5 years, we have actually managed to get above 50% women in the class, and that has been like a win for us. And this is not only just to push women candidates in the class, but the idea is to get women leaders who've shown a good representation in their recent past years. So we are trying to put that together in a good format. We of course evaluate that also. Not every women candidate gets a waiver here, but if you have shown good leadership qualities in the recent past years, your work talks of it, then you are a contender for it. Now this is scholarships.
Lovely. So these scholarships, barring the Dean's Award, so students, everybody is eligible for it? Like anyone who's applying, will you reevaluate all the profiles and give them, or do I have to separately apply to it?
Yeah, great question again. So for us, we valued having good, talented students or candidates in the program. So it's a default for us that everybody who is going to clear the personal interview, and then when we process their offer letters or results, all those candidates actually go to the scholarships and tuition waiver committee. And everybody gets a fair chance to get evaluated by the committee to understand whether they are eligible for any scholarship or any tuition waiver bracket based on their performance in the selection and their past profile.
Brilliant. So basically, my entire application profile, which is being submitted in the form, is going to be evaluated for admission and for my scholarships.
That is correct.
Lovely. That's great. Now let's understand about our tuition waivers. I think that is where we get those exciting 50% and 80% tuition waivers for the students.
Right. Now I know that sometimes tuition waivers are really important for people, and we have not changed our fees for the last 10 years or so. It's always been around 19-20, and it's the same. Of course, there is an additional budget that goes above the traditional fees that they are paying. And we have been doing this brackets of 30%, 50%, 80% for as long as I remember that we are doing. It's just that every year getting a tuition waiver is going to get a little bit more tougher. And with every round, it is also going to get tougher. So there is an early advantage for us within the early round, which is right now at say 21st of November or so. So somebody who's actually in the pool for their process in the round 1 will probably get a higher chance of getting a scholarship and a tuition waiver. Now going back to the the fees, the financial aid, and what are the brackets, right? There are people in the class who have no scholarships or tuition waivers, and then there are folks who have 30%, 50%, and 80% as well. Now, as you move forward with these brackets, of course, a 50% and 80% is going to be lesser. 30% is something that you will more often come across from profiles perspective, that, oh, this person has it 30%, right? In our case, this 30%, 50%, and 80% is calculated on tuition fees, which is about 16 lakh rupees. So on that, we give a 30%, 50%, and 80%. And the calculation goes on. Now, there is one twist here, and very interesting is that if somebody has a sports scholarship, or he is a scholar, right, and he can have a dean's award and a 30%, he can have a sports award and can have a 50% as well. So this further reduces the finances here, but of course this is rare. It's more competitive in later rounds. When we start allocating these scholarships and tuition waivers, we are just opening up the budget, or the kitty, right? So the chances here are that your allocation will be a little bit more faster, and the pool is going to be relatively small.
Yes.
Compared to the rest of the rounds. But yeah, a 0%, 30%, 50%, and 80%. There are handful of students who've got 80%, and somebody who's really contending for an 80% would have academics which are very strong, probably a 999 or an 998 or a 988, right? That's what we are looking at in terms of the numbers. Then we are looking at the test scores, and someone who will have, say, a 95 above CAT, or a 235 above NMAT, or say a GMAT above 690, a GRE above 320, and so on and so forth. And in this context, there's also something wherein your work experience plays a huge role. Now, I'm not saying that freshers won't get 80%, but it's just an additional brownie point here for people who have work experience, right? And for us, work experience has played a huge role in the cohort. We have about good 60% people with work experience, and then about 40% who have no work experience are all freshers. Every time that we talk about work experience, it's not a bias. It's just one additional thing that can get you closer to getting a good scholarship or tuition waiver. It's that part.
So, Ruchi, we were discussing about the various scholarships and tuition waivers. What do you think is an ideal profile, or which kind of profile students can make it to SDA Bocconi and definitely have more chances when we talk about, our scholarships?
Right. So as I was mentioning before that, we have 6 categories, or say 6 aspects that we look into when we are actually allocating scholarships or tuition waivers, or even in fact for selections. Now, I would think that anybody who has, like, out of 6, 4 things on their profiles which are pretty much very strong would have, like, literally a lot of chances to get a certain scholarship or tuition waiver. Now, that could be great academics. That could be great extracurricular activities. That could be 18 plus months of work experience that we have in cohort. Then it could also mean that the PI or the interview has happened fantastic, and that person has aced the interview, right? It could be a mix of all of this, but I would think that at least out of these 6 parameters, including that of essays, etc., at least 4 of your parameters are, if great, say, then you have literally a very good chance of getting a tuition waiver or scholarships. Now, even a 3 is okay. But I would say that, let's say, a good 70% or 80% of it should be there on your profile. Now, in the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of people who have founded their business, who have been involved in their family businesses, but have started their own business lines altogether. Then there are people who have shown great enthusiasm in social sector. There are people who have been content creators, right? And all of these things have really changed the game in terms of what ideally the profile looked like 5 years back to what it is looking like today.
True, true.
And I think we are more than happy if that person is showcasing all of these new things on their profile, and we will take that into consideration, right? The best part here, I feel, is that everything is changing, the world is changing, and we would want to adapt to that as well. And we are more than happy to see good attitudes in the class, right? So the selection is definitely has some parameters, but the end of it, what is really that is going to be mapped here is the hunger of what and how much they can push themselves to get to what they want out of it. Second is the kind of balance that we would like to have. The third would be the aspiration or a great attitude that they can bring in the class for themselves and for their peers. So this might sound really a small factor, but I think this plays a huge role in your full application as well as your interview point of view and your essays for that matter, right? And this really helps us also devise a certain weightage to the PI that it has 35% weightage, and that is only because we would like to have competitive people but with great attitude who can bring a class to a certain level.
Lovely. That's really interesting. And I love the fact that, when you said that all of these things, we value the extracurriculars and all. And it's truly, you can say profile based when we are selecting, and we are not just the academics. So for all the students who are listening and, who keep thinking that I maybe didn't do well in my 10th, 12th, what can I do now? You still have a lot that you can showcase on your application, but showcase it. You have to be the one talking out loud about it. Ruchi, before we head out, one last question. A lot of students always ask, we have to be one trimester is in Milan, where I'm going, right? Is that a part of my fees, or is there an additional cost for going to Milan?
Yes. So this is the cost that is going to be a part of your fees in terms of the tuition fees. So you don't have to pay anything academically on top of it. What you will have to pay here is your stay, your flights, all of that. The visa fees maybe, but all the arrangements can be pretty much made by the school. You go on a student visa, so you can't really go work there. But yeah, of course, if you are going to intern, you will probably get some stipend, etc. You can be a part of research projects with your professors, etc. as well, and sometimes there is a stipend. But overall, if you look at the expenses that can incur during the Milan, the 4 months in Milan, that could be between 4 to 5 lakhs. That could include everything, by the way, your stay, your flights, your food, everything put together.
Lovely. That's great. So essentially my tuition fees for the Milan campus is paid, but when I'm looking at my stay and food, that's something that's a personal choice where I can choose what to do, and we can do internships as well.
Yep, that's right.
Lovely. That's really great. Great. I think we've had a very interesting conversation. So thank you so much, Ruchi, for coming and sharing these insights with us. And for all the students who are listening, I hope you have made a note of the 6 most important parameters which are going to be the deciding factor for your admission. Work on them, and if you have any doubts, any questions, drop in the comment section and we will ask Ruchi to help you out also. In fact, I would love if you can share your profiles, your 10th, 12th graduation scores, and your 3 best wow things about you. Drop in the comments. Let's see, we'll give you inputs whether you should apply or not to make your life easier. All the best, take care, and stay tuned to the channel. And once again, thank you so much, Ruchi, and looking forward for more such discussions with you coming up ahead.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you, everyone, and good luck.